Deputation. I would like to take this opportunity to remind the public that to enable the Council to conduct its business, if there are any interruption at today's meeting, I will ask the individual or individuals to stop and give a warning. If this continue, I will give a second and final warning. Should the disruption continue, I will ask security to remove the person or group from the council chamber and will adjourn the meeting. Members of the council, please can I ask that you indicate when you wish to speak by raising your hand. If you are invited to speak, please use the microphone or the lectern in the middle of the floor and stand close to it when talking. Please do not move the microphone when speaking and do not approach the dais. Please can I ask members and officers to introduce themselves when speaking? I would like to ask that everyone turns their mobile phones to the silent mode. We are not expecting a fire drill this evening, so if the alarm sounds, please remain calm and follow the instruction of the town hall staff. Order of the business. In terms of published agenda, as chair, I have agreed to reorder the agenda in accordance with Rule 16.1.10. Therefore, item 21, appointments, will be considered after item 8, Newham Partners update. I would like to inform members that item 22 and 23 has been withdrawn. I would like to advise members that I have received a request for an emergency motion from Councillor Mahmoud Mirza on ongoing conflict in the Middle East. Chief Whip, Councillor Anam Islam.
Thank you, Chair. Can I vary the order of business under Rule 16.1.10 of the rules? I'd like to move item 21, which is appointments, after item 6.
21.
After 6, yeah. 21 after 6?
You're saying 21 after 6?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Can that be agreed?
That can be agreed, yes.
It's agreed, okay. Can I also, under Rule 16.1.10, move motion 3 of item 20 after item 7? Can that be put forward to the meeting?
I didn't hear that clearly.
Sorry, could you repeat yourself?
So basically, I want to move under clause 16.1.10 to vary the order of business to hear the urgent motion follows by motion 3, fireworks safety, in between motion 6 and 7.
Sorry, we can't hear really clearly. Yeah.
This could be placed straight after the emergency motion on Israel and Hamas conflict. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can, if you can repeat it again.
Do you want me to repeat myself?
Yes, please.
So I'm saying that motion 3 of item 20 can be moved between 6 and 7 and perhaps be placed after the emergency motion on Israel and Hamas.
So just to be clear, you want to move item 21 after item 6.
That's right. And then
you
after
want
that,
to deal with the emergency motion.
and thereafter, I think you've got emergency motion on Hamas and Israel.
That's right.
And I'm saying we can place the fireworks straight after that.
Just the fireworks one, yeah?
Yeah, that's the fireworks. If that is permitted by the rules.
Yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's been agreed. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's take that, that's fine. So will you make sure we're ready then, 21, and emergency, then 5.
So we're doing after 6, yeah. I'm now moving to item 1, apologies for absence. I have received apologies for absence from Councillor James Arthur, Rita Chada, Mariam Dowd, Charlene McLean, Terry Paul, Rachel Tripp, Tony Wilson, Amar Bardi, and Sabia Kamali. Is there any other apologies or absence to be recorded? Salim Patel, Noor Begum, Jubair Gulam, and Arik Chowdhury, Belgique as well. Thank you. I'm now moving to item 2, minutes of the last meeting held on 18 September 2023, pages number 7 to 16 on your agenda. I move as a correct record the meeting of the last meeting of the council held on 18 September 2023. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Louise. I'm now moving to item 3, declaration of interest, page numbers 17 to 19, your agenda item. Are there any members wishing to declare any disclosable pecuniary interest or any other interest they may have in any matter which is to be considered at this meeting?
Chair, I have to declare interest. If there is a delegation then, to address the council meeting, I may have a member of my family, who could be included in the delegation. So I have to declare my interest. Thank you.
Thank you.
Chair, just to clarify, that's conflict in relation to one of the deputation speakers, is that right? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ghani. I'm now moving to item 4, announcement by the chair. Tribute to former civic mayor and councillor Mary Collier. I, along with members of the council, was saddened to learn of the death of former councillor Mary Collier either this month. Maria Collier served as a councillor for 16 years, first been elected as 1998, serving local communities in Canning Town North. A former chair of council, she also served as chair of 5 scrutiny committees and helped shape council policy across subjects as diverse as the nighttime economy, recycling waste policy, and housing. In 2016, Mary received the title of honorary alderman and honored with the Freedom of the Borough for her public service to the London Borough of Newham. We sent our sympathies to her family, in particular her husband, former councillor Brian Collier, whom we will be honoring late this evening. And I ask those who can to stand for a minute silence in memory of Maria. Thank you. More sad news, it is with great sadness that we heard about the conflict in the Middle East. I, along with the Council, offer my most sincerely sympathies to all the people and pray for the speedy and peaceful resolution to the conflict. I can report that since last meeting of the Council on 18th of October 2023, I have undertook a number of visits and attended events in my role as a first citizen of Newham, most notably. 18 September 2023, Citizen Advice by Newham Coffee Morning I attended. 20th September 2023, Bishnath Sport Association Gala Dinner and Award Ceremony. 24th September 2023, East Africa Muslim Cultural Group Open Day, Banijjo Mela, organized by British Bangladesh Women's Forum, UKIM Masjid Ibrahim and Islamic Center Open Day, 26th September 2023, Mayor of Croydon Fundraising Dinner, 1st of October 2023, Dhaka Dokkin MLA High School and College Association 125-year celebration, 12 October 2023, Leaders Reception and Freemen of the Borough Ceremony, 15th of October, London Mayors Association Civic Service, 15th of October 2023, Dhaka Dokkin Multicultural High School and College 125th of Anniversary of Celebration. I'm now moving to item 5, announcement by the Mayor Roxana Fiaz. I invite Mayor Roxana Fiaz to address the council to make an announcement. You have 10 minutes.
Colleagues, I wanted to obviously note the devastating events that are unfolding before our very eyes via our screens and devices. And I know that we've got an important debate tonight, so I just wanted to, at this stage, pray for peace and pray for the lives of all those that have been lost during this most challenging of times for not just the region of the Middle East, in Israel and in Gaza and people of Palestine, the entirety of the Jewish community around the world and also the Muslim community. I know firsthand that communities are really scared. They're frightened, they're anxious, especially our young people. I have a 17-year-old niece who is struggling to navigate what she is hearing and what she is seeing and asking me questions, not as the Mayor of Newham, but as her aunt. I know that it is impacting all of us in very deep and varied ways. And I make an appeal to all my fellow colleagues here who occupy privileged roles as elected representatives, but also to all sections of our community, that we should be comforting each other and seeking peace between us here. And we should pray that there comes a point where no more lives are lost. The other matter that I'd like to bring to colleagues' attention tonight is the progress that we're making in relation to our Borough of Culture bid. We'll be submitting our application on the 30th of November, and over recent weeks we've been galvanising across our community networks, across our partner institutions that make up the vibrant, creative, amazing, impressive cultural sector that exists in Newham. If we were to win, we would benefit from some £1.1 million over the course of a year, enabling a programme of participation, enrichment, where people can come together, feel happy, be surprised, be enlightened, make connections, deepen bonds. And it's all part of our commitment to the cultural enrichment of all of our residents' lives. Because accessing art, creativity, being enabled to express shouldn't be the preserve of an elite. And I say this having watched in honour and in pride the official launch of our unique collaboration with the University of East London and our Stratford Youth Zone. As you all know, Stratford Youth Zone is our flagship youth zone. It specialises in the performing arts, enabling freedom of expression, creativity for our young people, providing them opportunities to learn, to develop their skills, and opening opportunities for jobs. The collaboration with the University of East London will bring some £7.3 million to the Stratford Youth Zone over the next 10 years. And it's not been done in the way that we have modelled it with the University in East London anywhere in the country. And it's a demonstration of how we always want to do things differently, to demonstrate our innovation, but more importantly, to demonstrate our enduring commitment to our young people in this borough, that we want for Newham to be the best place for them to grow up, to be empowered, to be enabled, and to thrive. Finally, colleagues, no doubt during the course of this evening, either during some of the motion debates or debates across some of the reports, there'll be lots spoken about good governance and the way in which this council is run. And I just want to really remind everyone about the journey that we started back in May 2018. Yes, there existed a trust deficit between the people of Newham and the council. Yes, the council, in my opinion, wasn't run well. Yes, I promised that we would reverse the democratic deficit and do things differently so that the people were at the heart of everything that we do. Yes, established an independently chaired commission on civic participation and democracy in this borough. Yes, brought in independent experts to look at the financial standing of this council and looked at our internal controls, all part of our commitment as a public body to ensure that when the spotlight was put on us, there was nothing that we could hide, and that we could stand with our held up high to say we are doing right by the people of this borough and for them, because we have a duty in these positions of public office to be truthful, to speak no ill, to not shapeshift, to not style things out because it provides a little bit of political capital or advantage. This evening, I'm pleased to announce, as part of our ongoing agenda of good governance here at the Council, an agenda that I started back in May 2018, and where we've been advancing for some 5 years now, that we'll be inviting the Local Government Association to do what's called a corporate peer challenge review. We were intending to do that in the municipal year 2019 to 20, because I was really keen to ensure that we had an external lens looking at what the council was doing and the plans that we had put in place to turn around a council that had been left to fester, left to decay. But unfortunately, as I'm sure many of you will remember, we got caught up in the devastating impact of a global pandemic, COVID-19. Now that we're a year following the re-election back in May last year, we've got the new chief executive, and everyone's settled and becoming familiar with being a councillor and understanding how operating in a local authority context broadly works. We will be bringing in the Local Government Association. It will comprise of a team made up of chief executives, and there'll be a pair for me as the Mayor of Newham, and that will be the Mayor of Salford. They'll come in for 3 days at some point in November, and in the coming week I will be circulating further details to members of the council. Abby, in her role as the head of paid service, will be sending information to all members of staff, and we will be publishing a statement about the impending LGA corporate peer challenge, so that our residents are aware. I'll be making reference to it in weekly bulletins, because it serves a purpose to be transparent. And the purpose is this: in this age of post-truth politics, where it's really easy for politicians to lie, it's also really important that you have individuals elected to office that are willing to speak the truth. And that truth may not be easy. There may be individuals in our resident community that don't disagree, and that's fine. We're in a democracy. Disagreements allowed, as are different perspectives. But we're here to make decisions, and we're here to transform and change lives for the better. Because for too long, the people of Newham have been ill-served. And I started a mission to reverse that. I'm not giving up. We'll keep on going, and we'll do our best for our people, because that's what they need right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Fairs. I'm now moving to item 6, announcement by the Chief Executive, Abhi Baga. I understand that she doesn't have no announcement to make. Yes.
Hi, Councillor Nate Higgins. In preparation for this full council meeting, I asked whether there would be a declaration on the absence of the constitutional review from this meeting's agenda. It was promised that it would be on this agenda in a report to a previous council meeting. As councillors, some of us have been told why it's not on this agenda, but the public who have been told it would be also deserve to know why it's not on this agenda, and I was told that there would be an announcement on that, and there isn't one, so I'm just hoping that perhaps the monitoring officer could explain. Thank you.
Chair, with your permission, yes, that's absolutely right. We were hoping to bring the council procedure rules in particular to this council meeting. However, the priority has been on the political balance rules and the allocation of seats, which we've deemed to be more important. And in light of the other matters on the council agenda today, we've decided to prioritise that. However, having said that, we will still seek to do all the various parts of the Constitution so that it is done by the annual council.
Is that it? Thank you. Can't find 21. Yeah, that's 20. That's 20. No. It's all motions. Yeah. And what's this article? I don't even know. I'm now moving to item 21. Update from item 21, appointments. Are there any appointments to announce? Councillor Carlin. Do you mind going to the microphone, please?
Sorry, Chair. I do apologise. I missed the declarations of interest, but I just wanted to just say this evening, if the motion is coming this evening regarding the barge, I would like to just request that those of us on SDC do not participate in such motion, as we are part of the planning committee that may need to be present in the decisions. And so those persons are Rachel Tripp, James Beckles, John Morris, Mazawar Alam, Harvinder Singh Verdi, Charlene McLean, Susan Masters, Madeline Sali-Pontin, Carlin Lee Parkway, and the substitute members are Tony Wilson and Councillor Mohammed Ghani, if that's okay, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Carlin.
Chair, could I just clarify that I understand that the motion in relation to the barge has actually been withdrawn?
Thank you.
Thank you, Monitoring Officer.
Chair, did
Yes.
I hear this correctly? Appointments, is it now?
Yes.
Okay. So, Chair, can we appoint Councillor Lakmini Shah, replacing Councillor Liz Booker, who unfortunately had to resign last month. So, Councillor Lakmini Shah has been appointed to this role, the scrutiny chair.
Thank you, Councillor. All in favor, please raise your hand.
No. So we've just got to clarify that in his role as the majority chief, he's meant to be nominating the chair of for Lakmini Shah to be the chair, and then we've got to vote.
Just before milliseconde. Chair, do we need a seconder for this proposal?
Yes. Can we have a seconder, please?
Yeah, formally second this appointment. Thank you.
No,
Okay.
nomination. No,
So-
can I ask Councillor Namal Islam to nominate the candidate, and probably then you need to vote it and then second it, please.
Chair, Can I propose Councillor Lakmini Shah for the role of scrutiny chair, the vacated scrutiny chair role, which was unfortunately vacated by Councillor Liz Booker, and at the same time, can I move a vote of thanks for Liz doing an incredible job in her tenure?
Councillor Jennifer Bailey, I formally second this appointment for Councillor Lakmini Shah. Thank you.
Okay. Members, just so we're clear about this, all members are able to vote in relation to this appointment.
I'll ask for the recommendation now.
All members are able to vote on this appointment, including the scrutiny, sorry, the cabinet members.
Okay.
Chair, it's a well-established custom and practice, in our standing orders, that the cabinet does not vote for scrutiny chairs. As I just said to the colleague, which is not the terms I should use, but Turkey doesn't vote for Christmas. So cabinet members are not allowed to vote for scrutiny chairs.
We are not voting, we're going for recommendation.
I understand that that's the precedent. That's not actually a restriction, but if that's what's happened previously, cabinet members can sort of withhold their votes if that's you prefer.
Can we move to the vote now? All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All are in against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? No. Oh, congratulations, Lakmini Shah, for newly appointed. So now which one are we going for?
So now we're moving for the emergency.
Six.
The emergency. Emergency motion.
So,
She's got
what
this
is
great
it? Is it six? Yes, Colleen. Abstain, okay, thank you. And the mayor as well, okay, thank you. There has been emergency motion been submitted, and I have accepted the motion, so I'll ask Satish to explain.
Emergency motion. We've received an emergency motion in the name of Councillor Mirza, which has been accepted for debate. We've also received two amendments, one in the names of Councillor Rohit Dasgupta and Councillor Mumtaz Khan, and the other in the name of Councillor Danny Keeling and Councillor Nate Higgins. All members have been provided with a copy of them. We're proposing to take the motion in the first instance, moving that first, and then deal with the Green Party amendment, and then vote on the Green Party amendment before moving on to the Labour Party amendment.
Can I ask Councillor Mahmood Mirza to move his motion, please?
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Mahmood Mirza from Bolin Ward. Newham Council notes ongoing humanitarian disaster unfolding in Gaza. Innocent men, women, and children have had their access to water, electricity, and food denied by the blockade imposed by the Israeli government. Many Newham residents have family and friends who have been caught up in the bombing. Newham Council therefore calls on Israeli government to cease its bombardment of the people of Gaza and allow humanitarian relief to each those who need it. This council stands with Palestinian people
Can I
and calls.
can I ask the security to ask the gentleman to be seated in the public place, please? Thank you.
The Council stands with Palestinian people and calls on immediate cessation of hostilities. The Council will always defend the rights of Palestinian people and self-determination and urge the UK government to lobby Israeli government to abide by international law. A motion was passed in the full Council that Newham would be secondary borough for those refugees in need. Therefore, this Council resolved to stand by our commitments, and we welcome those who have been displaced by the war. Council further urged the Mayor Ruxana Fayaz to send a letter to support to the Palestinian ambassador expressing Newham's solidarity with their cause. I propose this motion.
Thank you. Is there any seconder? Thank you. We now move to the, all right.
Councillor Danny Keeling, Stratford Olympic Park. I wish to formally second Councillor Mez's emergency motion. As Greens, we could not vote for it in its current state, though. We submitted an amendment to ensure it was rectified. However, in order of solidarity, in this chamber, we are happy to rescind the amendment and back the Labour amendment. I wish to use my final 1 minute to ask everyone for a 1 minute silence for those who have been killed in this conflict.
Sorry, just so I'm clear about it, you're withdrawing your amendment, is that right? And you're seconding the Councillor
I'm
Merz's
seconding the
amendment?
motion so that it could be heard.
So you're seconding the motion, is that right?
I'm seconding the motion and rescinding our amendment.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm asking if the chair would allow me to use my final 1 minute for a minute's silence for those in this conflict.
So can I ask all the members who can stand to take 1 minute silence? Thank you. Now we move on to the Labour Group amendment motion, please.
Thank you very much, Chair, and thank you, Councillor Keeling, for your show of solidarity and for saying you're moving your amendment and you're going to be supporting the Labour Party amendment. So I'm just going to, for the purposes of the Council, just going to read out our amendment. So under section 15.2 of the Constitution, we would like to delete the motion after the sentence, Newham Council notes the ongoing humanitarian disaster unfolding in Gaza, and replace with the following. Newham Council notes The outbreak of war between Israel and Gaza is deeply horrifying. There is no justification of the terrorist attacks committed by Hamas against Israeli civilians, nor of the disproportionate response by the Israeli government. It doesn't support the just cause of Palestinian freedom and a two-state solution. We were all horrified by the attacks on civilians. We send our sympathy and solidarity with all of those grieving who have lost relatives in those attacks, including the families of the 17 British victims. We also support the calls from across communities for all hostages to be released and returned to their families. Hostage-taking can never be justified. In the darkness of Gaza, which is now without power, are many innocent children, men, and women living in terror and fearing for their lives as a war rages between Israel and Hamas. 1.1 million Palestinians in Gaza have been told to flee. This underlines the scale unfolding of humanitarian disaster and displacement taking place. Neom Council believes the international community has a responsibility to step up to deliver the humanitarian response needed to safeguard innocent lives and to make sure that the civilians of Gaza have access to the food, medicines, and power generators. All responses must be within international law, which prohibits collective punishment. Beyond those directly affected are many more people who care passionately about this conflict. Within our local community in Neom are families who are desperately worried for relatives and friends living in Israel and Gaza. Neom Council resolves, the Labour administration will do all it can to make sure that our communities here in Neom are protected and feel safe and included. Neom Council, as a local authority, has limited to no power on resolving this situation, but we shall look at resourcing for hate crime reporting as well as prevention activities in recognizing the very real and unbearable suffering of civilians in the region. We shall also be looking to fundraise for humanitarian activity in the region. The leadership will continue holding meetings in the coming days with local Jewish, Muslim, and civic community leaders and appeal to all for leadership in the coming days. Stand together against hatred and terror, stand together for innocent lives, and stand together in the pursuit of peace. Thank you very much.
Is there any seconder for this motion? Thank you. We now move to the debate. Members, you have up to 3 minutes each. Councillor Louise.
Chair, thank you for calling me to speak. Firstly, I'd like to thank Councillor Mirza for bringing this motion to the Council. It's so important that we discuss these things, and I'd like to thank Councillor Keeling and Councillor Higgins for showing solidarity by agreeing to withdraw their amendment and back our amendment. It seems apt that that action has taken place, because even though Councillor Mirza and I, Councillor Keeling, Councillor Higgins and I disagree on so much, the whole of Neom is completely united in our sympathy and solidarity with those grieving and suffering in the Middle East. With one voice, this Council needs to call on the international community to safeguard innocent lives and to make sure innocent civilians are protected. We are all appalled by the terrorist attacks that Hamas committed in Israel. But we all know and understand that Hamas are not the Palestinian people. We need to urge the Israeli government to respond to these barbaric terrorist attacks in a way which is proportionate and which is in line with international law. I am not a lawyer, but I know that my residents fear that international law has been broken. International law is not optional. It must be followed at all times, and when international law is broken, those who have broken it must be prosecuted. I know that the scenes we see in Israel and Gaza have had a direct impact on our residents. Incidents of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism have risen since Hamas's terrorist attack. And people in my life, my friends and colleagues, have been subject to Islamophobic and anti-Semitic abuse. We must not allow this tragedy to divide our community. I urge Council to vote for the Labour amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lewis. May I ask Councillor Zulfikar?
Start by saying that no religion Can you hear me now? Yes. Thank you. Colleagues, let me start by saying that no religion on earth advocates killing of innocent lives. We should all be living in harmony with each other wherever we are. Innocent people deserve dignity, freedom, and justice. As we all know, the ongoing devastation situation in Gaza and Israel during the past week has claimed the lives of many innocent Palestinians and Israelis. It is heartbreaking to see loss of such precious lives, and we deeply mourn the losses of every civilian life, women, children, and elderly. The international powers must accelerate their efforts, exert their influence and pressure for a just and lasting peace in the region. This must be recognized by them as a priority. The international community must also ensure that human rights and international laws are complied with and that there is no collective punishment of any innocent civilian. Chair, to avoid further catastrophe, loss of innocent lives, we must urge world powers to seek an immediate ceasefire, ensure we avoid indiscriminative and collective punishment of innocent civilians. We must restore humanitarian aid, supply of food, water, electricity, and essential medical assistance. Colleagues, wars don't win hearts. Wars cause devastations. Wars are not a solution. All disputes ultimately end up through political intervention and negotiation. This is the time the international community and the United Nations play their role to resolve this long-standing dispute in the region. Efforts must be accelerated to accomplish the two-state solution. Frankly, I don't see this current government doing anything to do that, and I sincerely hope the successful Labour government, when it comes into power, gives this as a priority to help create that two-state solution and recognize the state of Palestine living side by the Israeli. Furthermore, as my colleague said earlier, NUM has good, excellent track record of community relation, and we have already seen hate crimes, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism actually rising. That is very, very concerning. Let us not divide our community. We've done a lot of work in the past to keep us together, and we shall continue to do so by events of international nature to have perspective, feelings, and emotions in our community. Our job as leaders of the community is to support our people, work with them to create harmony and unity amongst all. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Zulfikar. May I ask Councillor John Gray?
Chair, Councillor John Gray, West Ham Ward, speaking in favour of the Labour amendment. While emotions are high and raw, I do believe this amendment is a pragmatic and even-handed attempt at a sort of constructive approach. which rightly condemns the attack by Hamas terrorists on Israeli citizens, while making it clear to Israel that it must act proportionally and respond only in accordance with international law, especially with regard to collective punishment, which is prohibited. Council, we need a peaceful negotiation two-state process, which has been mentioned by colleagues before, to bring peace to the region. An old school friend of mine served in the Israeli army as a tank commander, while a very good friend of mine has been constantly arrested by going into Israel and working for the Palestinian cause. We don't want more people in armies fighting. We don't want more people spending their lives under protest. We need peace in the region, and I think this amendment is a helpful way forward. Thank you. Please support.
Thank you, Councillor John Gray. May I ask Councillor John Morris?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, Council, I rise in full support of this amendment proposed by Councillor Rohit, and I would like to thank Councillor Mirza for putting it together and Councillor Keeling for seconding it. It shows our commitment and unified response to ending the hostilities that is happening in Gaza right now. When the events that transpired on the 7th of October was nothing short of devastating, and upon learning of them was profoundly shocked and horrified, as I'm sure many other people across the world were as well. My heart goes out to the victims, the families, and the entire community of Israel, and there was no justification for these actions whatsoever. However, it is imperative that Israel's response is proportionate and exercised within the bounds of international law. This means not demanding over 1 million people to vacate their homes, not imposing collective punishment. Humanitarian aid must flow unimpeded to those in dire need, and hostilities must be brought to an immediate halt. The Palestinian people are victims of this crisis as well, and they have my unwavering support and empathy. In the face of this crisis, some may choose to sow division amongst our communities, as has seen with the rise of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. This amendment stands as a beacon of unity, recognising the boundaries of our influence as a council in a crisis of this magnitude. Together, let us strive for understanding, compassion, and a commitment to a path that promotes peace and stability for all.
Thank you, Councillor John Morris. Can I ask Councillor John Wentworth to come in?
Thank you, Chair. John Whitworth, West Ham Ward. I note there is quite a large measure of agreement, actually, between Councillor Mirza's motion and the Green Party's amendment. I'm supporting, though, the Labour Party amendment, which I believe has got the best balance of them all. And I would like, thank you, I would like to highlight one or two points in our amendment. One of them being the responsibility of the international community. And of course, we think here of Britain's historic role, who ruled the territory for 30 years and contributed to the problems which followed afterwards. And of course, the current responsibility, often the international states have not helped this situation, but caused further aggravation of it. And at the moment, we are faced with a humanitarian catastrophe with the blockade of Gaza and the withholding of supplies and the threat, of course, of the Israeli invasion. This is a major humanitarian catastrophe which, whether it succeeds or not, the international community needs to put all their efforts in trying to avoid this and begging the Israeli government not to invade, and at the same time asking the Hamas to release the hostages and to stop the rocket attacks against Israel, because the only thing really that will bring lasting peace is compromise. Compromise, which unfortunately, on both sides of the conflict, the leaders have failed to do. We needed, from the Israeli government, conditions to be prepared for the Palestinian state and the prevention of the settlement of the West Bank of the Jordan. And on the Palestinian side, the need to accept that the state of Israel must occupy part of historic Palestine. So we need the international community to press each side for restraint and also for compromise. And the compromise, of course, needs to be present among our own community, because we need to, and this motion offers meetings between the different community leaders of the different groups to try to get a collective and response in solidarity for peace and harmony inside our own community, but also to try to contribute, however difficult it is, to bring the two sides together, because compromise, that is the two-state solution, is the only possible means of attaining peace in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor John. May I ask Councillor Anis to come?
Thank you, Chair. As the Commissioner for Interfaith and Interreligious Dialogue and Engagement for this borough, I support the Labour amendment. Love is at the very heart of all our major faiths. Love for the source of our being, our Creator, and love for our neighbours, whether or not we like them or agree with them. And that love compels us to work for peace. Our work with the Faith Forum and our work with individual groups of people of faith and of no faith has helped us all to grow as we listen, learn, and share our beliefs. And it's led to a greater understanding of the importance of value of faith and belief to the quality of life here in Newham. The people of Newham, and especially our children and our grandchildren, deserve to live as citizens of a world where we can all feel safe, valued, and included. I support this amendment.
Thank you, Councillor Anister. Can I ask Stephanie?
Thank you. I want to speak in support of the motion. As a council, we have a duty to represent the residents of our borough and do our utmost to protect the safety of those living here. There are many who have been directly affected by the conflict between Israel and Gaza, between Israel and Hamas, sorry. We have seen the impact of horrific terrorist attacks done by Hamas and are devastated by the innocent Palestinian lives that have been lost and the humanitarian crisis. I think we can all agree that we are desperate for a peaceful resolution and that we see that international law is followed. There's been a surge in anti-Semitism and Islamophobia across London. Religious institutions have needed heightened security. Schools have been closed due to the risk of violence. We cannot allow expressions of hate to go unchallenged. I urge us all to report and speak out if this is witnessed in the community or online. And although we as a local council do not have the power to resolve the situation, we must do what we can with the focus of bringing our community together and ensure that we promote a borough that is safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Stepney. Can I ask Councillor Madeline to come in, please?
Thank you, Chair, for giving me the opportunity to speak to support the Labour amendment to this motion. I'm finding it quite hard to speak to you this evening, and I will actually restart in my own language. Salam alaikum. Shukran. Salam alaikum, for those of you that don't speak Arabic, is all about peace. It's about welcoming you in peace and about being in peace with the people that you enter into a space with. My name is Madeline Sali-Pontin and I am the Councillor for Forest Gate South. My name is also Majlalin Suhail Mohammed Saeed Saleh Al-Hashimi. I am Arab, Ani Arabi. I am a citizen of Newham and also I have Arab heritage. On Saturday, I'm travelling to see my family in the Middle East. I haven't been there for 26 years because of war, because of strife, because of terror, and because of terrorists. It is very upsetting to me and to many of my fellow citizens of Newham and citizens of the Middle East that people will use our pain for their gain. Why people think they have the right to speak on behalf of myself, my relatives, and my people. And that includes the people within Israel and also my fellow Semites, the Jews. It is hard to explain to you what it feels like to have people that have in the street have encouraged their own supporters during election time to actually say to me, Councillor Mirza, that I am an Islamophobe. Your supporters were chanting that at me in the street during your election when we were both at the election booth. We were both there for 10 hours, you were there for longer, I went home after 10 hours, and I asked you repeatedly to ask your colleagues to stop saying those things to me, to stop being aggressive to me. Yes, I did. You know I did. Mahmoud, are you calling me a liar on this? You are, because it's not true. Even the Greens that were there witnessed it. You weren't there, guys, but your colleagues were there, and they will say that this is what was said in the street towards me, okay, and towards my other colleagues that were there. You cannot say one thing to one group of Arabs and then say another thing to another group of Arabs.
Councillor Madeline, you have 36 minutes.
I will address the chair. Yet another sign of your arrogance. I support the motion from the Labour Party because we believe that terrorism on any side is repugnant and is against human rights and against the rule of international law. We believe that all people should be held as sovereign and should be held with the highest esteem. We believe that the people within Israel that were kidnapped by Hamas, which is a terrorist organisation, should not have to be living in fear or currently used as hostages. We believe in the sovereignty of the Palestinian people.
Thank you. I ask Councillor Nett.
Councillor Nate Higgins. I'm rising in support of Labour's amendment, which is not something I usually do. And I'm doing it because I'm quite scared, actually. I'm quite scared to speak. And as a person growing up throughout my life, I've tried to lean into fear and to try to overcome it. So I just want to tell Council a bit about myself. I come from a Muslim family. My mum grew up in Dubai, my stepdad from Iran. And I remember the daily Islamophobia, violent Islamophobia that primarily my sisters faced, actually, because they wore hijabs. As a white boy, I didn't face the same, but I saw what my siblings faced and I saw what my mum faced. And I know that around events of international terrorism, that Islamophobia rises. And over the past 5 years or so, I've also become more aware of anti-Semitism in this country. And I was proud to support people within the Green Party who are fighting to stop anti-Semitism and to drive it out of where we find it in our politics. And I've just received a notification to say that a Jewish school has been attacked with red paint, and a police investigation has been launched. And I'm scared. I'm scared for what this conflict is going to do to our society, and that's why it's right that as a council we discuss this now. And I'm scared for what Muslim families will be facing, and I'm scared for what Jewish families will be facing. But I know that as councillors, we're not just local politicians, we're community leaders, and it's our job to bring the community together, both Muslim communities and Jewish communities and communities of all faiths and none, and to say that actually there is another way, that peace is an option, peace is always an option, but we have to be brave enough to fight for it. This morning, I received a hit article in a local blog calling me a Hamas, saying that I supported Hamas and that I wanted to see the ethnic cleansing of Jews because I supported Palestine's right to exist. That kind of division is exactly how we end up in places like this. And so I just want to urge everybody with any kind of platform right now to look for unity. That's why we've withdrawn our amendment. There is the opportunity for unity, but that kind of extreme divisive language for people who are just trying to find a way to say and do the right thing is not acceptable. Thank you. We'll be supporting the Labour amendment today.
Thank you, Councillor Knight Higgins. And now I close the debate, and I ask Councillor Mirza, you have the right of the last reply. Do you wish to say anything further? You have up to 3 minutes.
Chair, can I do a point of order, if not a point of clarification? Do we not vote on the amendment first, and then we get the right to reply?
We've looked at the council procedure rules. There is some doubt about that, but I think the better way to deal with it is the right to reply first.
Okay. If the chair has made that ruling, that's fine.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. I've listened the debate, and I want to say thank you to the council who contributed. Some issues are larger than the politics, and this is one of them. I would like to urge all the Labour Council to look deep within their hearts and ask themselves what is right to do, what is right thing to do. Now what I am allowed to do, but what is right. Our residents are watching our actions, and I'm sure they will not forget our actions here tonight and the next time they're required to visit the ballot box. I believe the right thing to do, show the people of Newham that we will not condone breaking international law and that we will use our voice to push peaceful resolution to this crisis. I would like to condemn the leader of the Labour Party's, Sir Keir Starmer's point that he is allowing and he is supporting the state of Israel for its blockade for innocent people. And also, I am a Muslim and I have been a victim of Islamophobia. Recently and previously, within the Labour group, within the Labour Party, I have been a member of Labour Party previously. I've been an officer in the Labour Party.
Councillor Mirza,
I have been
33
victim of the Islamophobia, and I think the chair and the monitoring officer should take a notice of this. People directly pointing on me while making a speech. I think this is not happening a first time. This was happened the last time as well, when I was giving the petition to the officer. The people was making a comments against me. I would like to urge all the members here to support my motion and vote for the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll now move to the vote on the amendment. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? No.
So, members, the amendment has been passed. Can we take a second vote now on the substantive motion as amended? You want another debate? Okay. Yeah, you can have another debate.
May I ask any councillor or any members to come and start with the debate? Do you have any members?
Yeah.
Yes. No. But we've got a proposal.
Can I propose if there's no one here to speak, we go straight to the vote?
Could we just check, Councillor Garfield? Did you want to talk in the debate? Okay. Are you happy to go to the vote then? Okay.
Yeah.
Councillor Jennifer Bailey, I support Councillor Annam proposal.
I think there's a bit confusion. Councillor Bailey, we have allowed Councillor Joshua to start the debate. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to wait until the motion was amended to speak because I find the amendment imperfect, but I accept that it's a better compromise for us as a community to come together, given what has happened. Like other people in this borough, I have friends and family directly affected by the terrorist attack brought upon by Hamas last week. In one day, Hamas murdered more civilians, and in particular, not just Jewish civilians, not just Israeli civilians, because they murdered civilians of all religions, of all ages, and of more than 23 nationalities. But in one day, they managed to murder more Jews than have been killed in any day since the Holocaust. The scale of the destruction that Hamas has brought upon the region, upon Israel, and upon the people of Gaza who have suffered under their despotic and violent regime for decades is unfathomable. And the horrors that we've seen unfolding before us, as the Mayor pointed out, are the kinds of horrors that we haven't seen since the West was taken to task on other terrorist groups similar to Hamas, like ISIS, like Al-Qaeda, the other groups that the West came together to defeat, because there can be no freedom for the innocent Palestinian civilians living within Gaza as long as Hamas are in charge, because they want no negotiation and they want no peace. But we in this chamber, unfortunately, can't do anything as much as we would want to bring peace to the people that we know, the people that I know, the people that I know that residents in this borough know, to bring peace to the region. We're powerless, absolutely powerless. But I'll tell you where we do have power. We have power within our own communities. And as members have spoken about, it is absolutely atrocious that as a response to what's going on in the Middle East, we have seen Jewish schools in this city have to close, and we have seen attacks on our Muslim brothers and sisters increase, and incidences of Islamophobia and anti-Semitism rise. That's exactly what it is that we can decide here tonight that we will not tolerate. That's the reason that I'm going to be voting for this motion, though I believe it's imperfect. That's the reason why I think it's crucial we come together, and I would like to extend an invitation to members of our community. I am Jewish and I pray in Hebrew. Many liberal Jews also pray in English, as I'm sure many Christians in the UK do, and most Muslims pray in Arabic. But all of those languages come from central texts that are very, very, very close in their origin and very, very close in their meaning. And I would like to extend a hand from my community to imams in the borough and propose that we organise a vigil in Newham for the innocent civilians whose lives in Gaza and Israel have been irreversibly changed and affected by what Hamas has done in the region. And that's something that I think we can extend an invitation to people of all faiths and none to gather and commemorate the lives lost. Because as members have said, that's where our heart lies. That's where our commitment and the only power that we have lies, and that is to bring people together in this borough. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Rohit Dasgupta.
Thank you, Councillor Garfield, and thank you to all councillors who participated in the debate on the amendment and on the motion. I don't think there's much for me to say. I think all has been said by my colleagues already. I think one of the things that we have definitely come across from all the debates that we've had is the strength of feeling in this room. We know thousands of people are deeply concerned about the humanitarian crisis that is going on in Israel and Gaza at the moment. And what we see here in this room is that we have strength in this borough in our diversity. That is what makes us citizens of Newham. It is through our partnership with our community, it is with our partnership with our faith leaders, it is with partnership with all of us around us that we can strengthen and deepen respect and come out of the situation which is impacting the people of our borough so badly. And I do hope that we will take this solidarity forward and vote for the amended motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ridash. Is there any other members who wish to speak? No, thank you. Oh, we already voted.
We've already voted on the amendment, so we're now moving to the vote on the substantive motion as amended.
No, we have given you...
You've had your right of reply, so we're now moving to...
Vote. Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. The amendment become substantive. the amendment substantive?
Yes, Chair, so we're voting on the motion as amended by the Labour Party, yeah? So the original motion as amended by the Labour Party.
So can I ask all those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. And all those against, please raise your hand. Any abstention? Thank you. The motion has been carried out.
Yep.
The motion has been carried out, yes. Where's the fireworks now? I call upon Danny Keeling to propose their motion, which outline the pages. Actually, I can't find the pages, so pages 59 to 60 on the published agenda. Motion is fireworks safety. Thank you. You have 10 minutes. Sorry, you have 5 minutes.
I don't need 10 minutes. In October last year, more than 200 people gathered at Stratford Station. They gathered with full intentions of causing distress and antisocial behaviour. In the evening rush hour, fireworks were being set off at Stratford bus station. And a video on social media even showed a firework being shot at a person with a baby in a pram. This then happened again this year on the 10th of October in East Ham. It also happened, and we had to report it, being reported to going to happen again yesterday. In 2016, 50 firefighters battled a huge industrial fire deliberately caused by fireworks in Forest Gate. In 2014, a firework destroyed a balcony in a block of flats in Stratford. On New Year's Eve, 5 meters from my front door, 10 people decided to have a display within 3 meters of a block of flats, between 2 trees. It was not just the cat in my house that was concerned with the noise and the fire risk that night. It is not just the fire risks when it comes to these rockets. It is the risk to our local ecosystem and animals. The most common fear response from dogs is from fireworks, leading to unusual behaviour, which can even be violent, out-of-character attacks. Only 2 in 5 UK adults say they're confident that they could take care of a pet, a horse, or another animal that has been distressed due to fireworks. In Harrow, in October 2nd, 2 years ago, sorry, my motion's a year old, it was reported that an owner found the remains of their pet cat in the garden. Parts of her body were found scattered around the garden. Her fur had been singed and burnt. Part of her left-hand side was missing, including the ribs and the head. The RSPCA found leftover fireworks and debris from what I can only describe as brutal animal cruelty. It is not just animals, though. The noise of fireworks can trigger PTSD in humans. I know this firsthand when I was a hotel manager. One of our guests was a war zone journalist, and when fireworks were set off in our neighbouring borough of Hackney, their PTSD was triggered. It was the next morning that one of our housekeeping team had to get me to come up because they had found the guest had dismantled the whole of the room in what I can only describe as a bunker. This required police to come out and to try and get control of the situation. The only way they could do it was to taser the person. Now, there are 2 resolutions set out here. One is the original motion, and the other the amendment. The original would limit the borough licensing laws, ensuring we do not give the extended license to sell fireworks all year round. I understand we all have political alignments and different political opinions. So I give the Labour group and the two independents the opportunity to extend this further by urging the government to consult on a ban on fireworks for general sale to the public. Nobody should have their own safety compromised. If this was heard originally, when it was first proposed, we may have been able to stop the other horrid antisocial behaviours that have even happened this month. However, risk to life, animals and private and public property is entirely unacceptable, and either way you do decide to vote, we wish to ensure our residents' safety today.
Thank you. Is there any second for the motion? Formally seconded. Thank you. We now move to the debate. Members, you have up to 3 minutes each. Anybody wish to take part in the debate? Okay. Thank you. Councillor Killing, you have the right of the last reply. Do you wish to say anything further? Thank you. We'll now move to the vote. All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Thank you. Any abstentions? No, thank you. That's
Lost.
hasn't been carried out. Thank you. Now, moving on to item 7, updates from cabinet members. Any members of the cabinet or deputy cabinet members or commissioner who wishes to update council will be allowed to speak. There shall be no debate or questions allowed. Does any of the cabinet member or deputy cabinet member or commissioner wish to speak? Councillor Islam.
Chair, can I do a point of order?
Yeah.
Can I invoke Rule 16.1.10 to move items 16 and 14 after 7?
Sorry, 14 and 15?
16.
Just 14 and 16, or?
Yes.
After 7.
After 7.
Okay.
That's been agreed. Thank you.
Do we need a seconder for this, Chair?
Yes, we do, please.
I formally second this motion.
Thank you. I'm now moving to item 8, Niham Partners update. I am pleased to welcome Jonathan Carr-West from Local Government Information Unit, who will be speaking on the LGIU's work on participatory democracy in local government. Sorry.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Hold on, Jonathan.
Sure.
Yes, Colin. Yes, Colin. No, after item 7. Yeah, after item 7. Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry. Apologies. Yeah. So we go to. Jonathan, I have to bring you back after 2 items later. Is that okay? Yeah. He's there. Yes, I'm now moving to item 14. Participatory democracy. The report is outlined on pages 3 to 18 of the supplementary agenda 1. I now ask the mayor to move this report. Yes, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Chair. Colleagues, the report before you this evening reflects on the journey around participatory democracy that we embarked in when I first became the mayor. We wanted to bring this report to full council in order to note and celebrate the journey that we embarked on some 5 years ago, where we've got to, and what we intend to do in the form of what's coming up next. We've started incubating as part of our People at the Heart the promise to reverse the trust deficit that existed between the people and the council. As I said in my mayor announcements earlier this evening, it doesn't mean that the council's always right. It doesn't mean that those that have alternative view are always right. But what it does mean is that we're embedding a healthy democracy locally, where different views can be expressed, yes. Views expressed with the respect that should be afforded to anyone, be they residents or elected representatives, and a demonstration of our promise that our people here in this borough, all those people, all those residents who are often marginalised by the loudest of voices that don't represent the majority, but they're invited in, that they have an opportunity to think about and imagine the places that they live, to think about how they would like to have an impact, to ensure that their voices, particularly those that are often ignored, neglected, pushed aside, women, young people, those with disabilities, the old. We want our residents not to be mere bystanders, passive recipients of various information flows, be it through big public bodies or small activist groups. We want our residents to be the architects of their neighbourhoods, to be empowered, to be enthused, to have hope about the future of their places. And that's the reason why we've embarked on the largest participatory budget exercise programme anywhere in the country as part of our commitment to participatory democracy. Through our people-powered places, our residents have been entrusted so far with £3.2 million to determine how to invest in a whole raft of community projects. Residents get the opportunity, as do local organisations, to submit their ideas. We pull residents in, working with ward councillors in their role as community champions, leaders in their wards across the neighbourhoods, to help facilitate and to choose, and then we enable people to vote. To date, we've had over 17,153 residents actively engaged across our People Powered Places programme since we started it in 2019. It's not just about budgets, it's about genuinely giving power back into the hands of our people, not just every 4 years, where they mark a cross on a ballot paper, or if they've got a postal vote, stuff it in an envelope and pop it in a letterbox. It's about roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, get stuck in, and be part of rebuilding our neighbourhoods. We've also established a permanent citizen assembly, being the first UK authority to do so, and we have also enabled our young people to establish their own young people's assemblies. It's so important that we continue doing this active, participatory work, because we live in an era, as I said earlier, where post-truth, lies, shape-shifting reigns. People have lost hope. They're disillusioned, not just with established politics, but also those that operate on the fringe. And we've got to offer people something different. And in this report, we set out all the things that we've done and all the things that we intend to do, including embracing some of the most cutting-edge methodologies around co-production and co-design. We're doing it already across all of our estate regeneration programs. In the area of health and adult social care, because we want our elderly residents to live well and feel empowered, to make sure that we talk true to our commitments to inclusion, equality, diversity. And as I said, the council as an entity will not get it right 100% of the time, but we learn. And that's the reason why participatory democracy as an agenda is an important one and the right one for a borough like ours, because it's disrupting the status quo. It's shaking things up. It ensures that people who do get elected don't remain complacent. So for all those voices that talk about the complacency of a majority group of Labour who've always run the council, please wake up and see what actually has been happening around you since May 2018. Because it's not a complacency. It's an absolute drive to ensure that our residents' voices are heard, are listened to, are engaged, are involved, and not just as a tick box exercise. And that requires all of us, including the organisation that is Newham Council. It includes all of us as members, as elected representatives, to also challenge our own assumptions about what it is to be an elected representative. It's not surprising that you will get residents asking you time and time again, what is it that you're doing on this? What is it that you're doing on that? Respond. Because they want an active, political, representative group of local leaders. And it doesn't mean you have to agree. Everyone has different perspectives. There are things that we are doing that some may not think is right because they have their own view, which may not be right. But let's allow for the conversation and don't be scared. And that's what participatory democracy brings us. It brings us a revival in civic life. It brings us a revival in politics. And so I commend this report, and I ask all members to vote in favour of noting its contents and to embracing the agenda we're taking forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Fairs. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Islam. We now move to the debate. Does anyone wish to speak? No? Can you now move to the recommendation, which are outlined on page All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? Thank you. The report has been approved. 16, yeah. Councillor Islam.
Chair, I'm guessing we're on item 16 as moved.
16, yeah.
Yep.
16,
okay.
yes.
So, good evening, Chair and fellow council members. In light of the recent shift in our council political composition, it's imperative that we revisit the membership allocation of our committees and subcommittees, ensuring they truly mirror the democratic choices our community has made. As clearly highlighted in Appendix 1, there is a compelling case to increase membership across each relevant body. The annual council meeting made it evident, as articulated by a monitoring officer, that the constitutional review initially stated for a later date is now upon us due to the recent by-election. Our community evolves, and so must the representation. In keeping with our commitment to democracy and fairness, we sought external legal guidance to ensure our path forward is just and equitable. As recommended, we now present a detailed report on the allocation of seats, ensuring that our committee's composition reflects the council's overall political balance. We owe it to our constituents to ensure every voice is heard, every perspective is considered, and every decision we make is true representation of the people we serve. Let's embrace this change, championing fairness and inclusivity in our council's representation. I welcome this report and ask all members to vote in favour of the report. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please?
Thank you, Chair. It'll surprise nobody that Greens welcome this report. We want to thank the monitoring officer for seeking the legal advice, which confirmed that the council was not acting in line with its legal obligations in shutting Greens off of vital committees like Audit and Chief Officer Appointments Committee, as has been the case for the last 17 months. But we could have and we should have reached this point much sooner. When we were first elected, we made the case that opposition must be represented on our committees. We were told we were wrong. Since his appointment at the start of the year, I provided the monitoring officer with countless examples of reports from other councils and from Newham Council ourselves, which acknowledge this legal responsibility to ensure opposition representation. I provided guidance from the Local Government Association Independent Group and extracts from parliamentary debates when the law was being written, which acknowledged the same. The Labour Party could have and should have been an ally in fighting to ensure our council met legal obligations. They could have scrutinised officers who are no longer at Newham who so clearly got this wrong. Instead, some decided to go on the offensive against me, a young, new councillor who was simply standing up for the scrutiny that Newham residents deserve and voted for. They wanted to silence me and prevent this very outcome. The Mayor called my claims a democratic deficit lie. The Mayor has spoken rightly today of the dangers of post-truth politics and the importance of honesty, and I hope she will accept her mistake. Labour councillors said I thought I was acting as if my ward was more important than everybody else's. My commitment to the principles of democracy I fight for every day were brought into question, and it was implied that I was a hypocrite. I have faced ageism and patronisation. The abuse and gaslighting I have received for consistently and steadfastly making the case for the importance of proper scrutiny, which is protected in legislation, is unacceptable. It's beyond clear that if I wasn't willing to stand up to and face up to the abuse and the attacks, we wouldn't be here today. I hope I'll receive apologies from those responsible. Last year, when Newham residents chose to have an opposition for the first time in over a decade, they told us that they wanted things to change. And no amount of abuse will stop Greens fighting for that.
You've got 46
and now, with this report, the council can hide from scrutiny no more. We are one step closer to delivering that change. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Edwin. We now move to the debate. Does any member wish to speak? Can you now move to the recommendation which are outlined on page 37 of the supplementary agenda? All those in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. Any abstentions? The report has been approved. Thank you. Now we go back to 8. Yes.
Chair, I'm conscious that we have 10 minutes left and we have a deputation that wanted to present to last council and has now come to a second council, and we've got a partners update which can take up to 10 minutes, so we might not reach the deputation. So I was hoping to extend standing orders to ensure that members of the public who have come to us twice now get the chance to make their deputation. For up to half an hour, I guess, but whatever Labour councillors would support to ensure that we hear this deputation.
Is there any second? All this in favor?
Is the extension for half an hour? Is that suggested till 9:30?
Chair, point of clarification. Can you just reiterate what you actually are seeking so that I can understand it before I...
Yeah, we are asking that.
So, unless, Chair, can I first of all propose that the deputation is moved forward now in line with the rule 16.1.10, and I also wish to propose that we extend standing order by 15 minutes. So I made two proposals. So we get the deputation now, and we extend standing orders by 15 minutes.
You are proposing to extend time for 15 minutes? Am I right?
Do we need someone to second from the floor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Lewis has seconded. So
and the deputation to be heard now.
Yeah, let me deal with it at a time, please. So we extended time for 15 minutes. Yeah, everybody agreed? Fine. And the deputation, you asking? What the deputation asking to bring it forward?
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're asking for deputation to bring it forward?
That's right. Can we have this now?
So let me...
Yeah. And also, if we're only extended for 15 minutes, just so that we could deal with the business that really ought to be dealt with today, item 17, civic awards, and item 18, treasury management. Is that okay? And adoption of code, if we can manage it.
Chair, I'm willing to only extend 15 minutes for the deputation, so unless the floor says otherwise.
Okay, fine.
The floor's not saying anything, all right, I'll do half an hour. Nobody said anything, so I'm making a ruling now for half an hour extension time. Can we have someone to extend, second that?
So time has been extended to half an hour. So all are agreed? Yeah, that's fine. So the petition, do we need to bring it forward then? We don't need to because it's got half an hour.
Otherwise we'll never get to it.
Where is the 9?
Yeah. Number 9.
Yeah, number 8, then where's number 9? Where's number 9? Number 9, so it's 8 then 21. Oh, thank you. Yeah, too many papers, too many papers. Thank you, everyone. I am now moving to item 9, deputation, as we agreed. The Chief Executive has agreed to a request to have a deputation. The request is from Friends of Queen's Market. We have with us the speakers, Saima Ali, Sharif Usmani, Pauline Rowe. All present are here. Welcome all. As you know, up to 3 of you may speak for up to a combined time of 5 minutes. The time limits must be strictly follow because of the busy agenda before us, and that after 5 minutes the opportunity for members to ask questions will automatically commence. Please introduce yourself and your colleagues and present your deputation. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Can you tell me when my 1 minute 40 seconds is up, please?
I will indeed. Thank you.
Yes, right. I'm starting with the heavy stuff. The Council's due to decide on 2 options for the future of Queen's Market in March 2024, 5 months ago. These 2 options are given on the Council's Co-Create website, and they were flushed out at a public consultation a year ago. And there's supposed to be another second public consultation. It was due to have taken place this month. We don't know when it's going to be. It's been postponed. It may tweak or alter the proposals, but in outline, we've seen them. We are concerned. We're using our democratic right to come and tell you why we're concerned. I should say I'm Pauline, and I'm a long-term shopper, a member of Friends of Queen's Market. Option 1 puts a health centre on the site, 3,000 square metres. If it's on the market site, this would cut a massive chunk out of the market, which is only just over 10,000 square metres, shops and stalls. There's no housing proposed under option 1, so how it would be paid for without section 106, we don't know, unless the proposal is for a private health centre. So this concerns us. There are good health centres in the vicinity, and of course there's no proposal for providing staffing, which would presumably
Pauline, you have
develop
32 seconds remain.
Okay. We have a promise the market will stay. We want to hear that every shop and stall will stay. Option 2 puts apartments on the site. We know there's 30,000 on the housing list, but social rent homes are all that our people can afford. And we know from the research department of Shelter and from what's happened on the bowling ground that only 4 to 6% of any development are social rent.
Thank
probably
you, Pauline.
less.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ashok Kaul and I'm a trade... Sorry. Right, okay. Right, hello everyone, my name is Ashok Kaul and I'm a trader in Queen's Market. We started the business 48 years ago, my mother did, and she still works there, and I've been there 24 years full-time myself. So I feel I know pretty much more about the market and its history than most people. Queen's Market is a historical market and a prominent feature in the history of Newham. It provides employment for hundreds of people and allows people to start small businesses without worrying about high shop rents and rates. It's ethnically diverse, providing a wide range of affordable, culturally appropriate goods, both traders and shoppers representing multiple communities, a unique place where such a diverse population can shop and work together in cohesion, learning from one another and helping break down barriers. Not only does the market serve the local population, but people also come from all over the country, and the place is also popular with tourists and students, looking for cheaper goods, which brings more people into Newham. Personally, we have other businesses relying on ours, whether it's people that run laundrettes or tailors, so many other businesses and organisations rely on businesses in Queen's Market. The cost of living crisis has seen a surge in customers coming into the market, is thriving once again. They seek cheaper goods which traders can offer because of cheaper rents compared to the high street. Many high street stores have also moved prices up because of increased rents and rates. Many shops like Wilko have closed, further pushing shoppers to the market. Many of these shoppers have low income and are recent immigrants struggling to find their feet. Traders fear these plans will change the size of the market.
Thank you. Your time
for the
is
worse.
up. Thank you.
Okay.
Hello, my name is Saif Osmani. I've lived in Upton Park most of my life. Queen's Market is part of our lives in Upton Park is visited by Londoners widely and known across the country. Sadly, it's been under threat for over 2 decades through managed decline. The market is our main food source, our community's social space, where London's most diverse borough meets to trade and buy culturally appropriate food and clothes while breaking perceived and real barriers, addressing social isolation and better understanding between one another. The 2021 University of Leeds Geography Department's report proves that Newham Council often fails to carry out real equality impact assessments and ignores London's less wealthy population. Our petition with over 6,000 names shows that people don't want Queen's Market changed. The Council's Co-Create website is very confusing and is not designed for local people to give their views. Improving engagement by listening to people would be a true innovation. We have watched in horror at what's happened at Canning Town's Rathbone Market and East Ham Market Hall, both a former shadow of what they once were. Newham has not produced a market strategy in time as stated on the Co-Create website. Instead, at every stage, it seems they want to undermine the results of any accurate findings from the real demographic of Newham. Why should ordinary Newham residents engage with you when you show you don't care for our needs? We do not envision Queen's Market as a privatised real estate site to be sold off to already wealthy developers. This is a traditional covered London street market where heads of families can feed
Your
and
time
clothe
is
their
up.
families.
Thank you. Thank you. We now have an opportunity for members to ask any questions they may have on what you have said and for you to respond. The time is allocated for this up to 5 minutes. Councillors, are there any questions for members on what the terms of the deputation has said? Councillor Louise.
Can you hear me? Yeah, you can. I was chatting to a friend outside, and he said that I should turn the microphone so that I can direct people properly. So hopefully that's what I'm doing. Guys, firstly, thank you so much for coming in. I think that what you said was really, really powerful, and I think that it's a reminder for us as councillors to engage with our residents, and also just a reminder of how deputations can be done well. It's hard getting up in front of the microphone, and I thought you guys were really, really powerful. I was also really interested to hear what you were saying, Asher. I apologize, I had to write the name down. I think I've got the name right. What you were saying about the stresses on markets, what you were saying about the difficulty it is to remain as a trader is something that I think all of us recognize. Some of us have lived experience of it. Saif, I know that you've been doing some amazing work. I haven't managed to make it on one of your tours yet. And I know that you referenced the 2021 Newham report, which I've read. I think we've probably got some different interpretations of it. But I guess my question to you guys is, it seems to me that there's a serious problem between the relationship, with the relationship between the council and the Friends of Queen's Market. What steps can we take as individuals to help rebuild that relationship so that we can properly hear you and properly understand where you're coming from? Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, so we're not doing the 15th.
Hi, my name is Saint Kundi, friend of Queen's Market for some years. Chair, what I'd like to say is that the market itself is I don't know, I forgot what I was going to say when I come here. What was you saying, Lewis? Right, okay. If you want to find out more and you want to interact and you want to know more about the market, you need to involve us. 20 years we've been there. 20 years we've been protesting, 20 years for 2 hours or 3 hours on a Saturday, on a Sunday, raining, shine, whatever. We've been there protesting. We've been there trying to put our case towards the council. We've been asking the council to interact with us. All we're asking you to do is involve us in the consultation process. Once you do that, we'll give you a truer picture of what's going on out there, what's going on in the market. You need to go and use the market. It's a very, 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 very important and very vital asset, a public asset, and that's what we want to keep it, as a public asset. So that's all I've got to say on that one.
Thank you. I'm now moving to item 8, Newham Partners update. Sorry? I haven't seen anybody raise their hand. You have? Oh, my apology then.
Thank you for coming in. It's been brilliant to see you. And I just wanted a quick one on, other than, because you do only get a short amount of time, other than being just a really beautiful landmark that we have in the East End, can you give us all the other community importance of the market?
No idea.
Right, you talk about community importance. Well, like I said, I've been there for 24 years, and I've seen virtually every country on the planet, like, represented in one place, whether they're traders, whether they're shoppers. There's people that will mix, that would never mix outside the market. You've got people with hijabs, people from Eastern Europe, you know, and they're mixing and they're getting on well, and that wouldn't happen in any other place, a supermarket. And people are more open to talk when it's a market. They have more time. You can't do that in a supermarket, so. And you don't really see that. So we see it because we're there every day. We see people that would never meet, and they meet in the market. We have students, they bounce ideas off each other, they meet each other. Designers come and they meet each other. So it's very hard to put into words unless you're there. But it's such a place where barriers are broken down. You get to know about other people, and that's it. That's the main thing, yeah.
And the Leeds report revealed in detail the social benefits of the market, and they actually did a serious amount of research and interviewing, and it's a very important report that you can read. But also that what we're talking about is that the size of the market is very important, and the market is nearly full at the moment, and more people want to have stalls. It's going quite well at the moment, isn't it, Ash? And so these proposals risk taking the size down. They immediately 30% of the size would go. And so the proposals, as we see them, and not as we see them, but as are described in the boards, the presentations that we've been given, the public's been given, show that the size would be made smaller, and that would be very, very damaging to how the market works and its benefits.
Thank you. Can I?
Do we have any more time? Yeah?
Answer.
Yes. All I want to say is that the market provides employment for between 500 and 1,000 people. There's a cost of living crisis on. We're looking at a recession. It does provide cheap and affordable stuff. Everything's important. Even the hairdressers, the handbags, the jewelry provide uplift for some of the hardest working women in London.
Thank you, Pauline.
So that's why
you,
for the community, every shop and stall should stay.
Thank you. Your time's up. Yeah. I'm now moving to item 8, Newham Partners update. Good evening, Jonathan Carwest. You have up to 10 minutes, after which member will have up to 10 minutes to answer the questions they may have. And my apologies for delaying your item.
No, no problem at all. Thank you very much, Chair. Good evening, everyone. Very
No,
good to
he's
be with you.
here.
I did have some slides, but in the interest of time, maybe I should just sort of speak and rattle through without them. I want to tell you a little bit. I'm Jonathan Coe-West. I'm Chief Executive of LGIU, the Local Government Information Unit. We're a membership body for local government. We support innovation in the sector, and Newham are one of our members, so delighted to be here with you tonight. I wanted to say a little bit about participation and participatory democracy. You've already heard from the Mayor and in the paper about all the amazing work that Newham has been doing in this regard, and actually, it's fair to say that you are regarded as one of the leading lights in this regard in the UK. But I wanted to say a little bit about why that matters so much, about what some of the learning we can look at around it is, and about some of the resources that you might look at in terms of where you go next, and some of the challenges. So we know that we're at quite a critical juncture for politics and for local government in the UK. Local democracy is essential. It's a building block of all our democracy, both because we in councils run the mechanisms, the mechanics of voting, but also because local government is the part of democracy, the part of the state that each of us as citizens is most likely to interact with. Most of the things we care most about in our daily lives are local government run. We know at LGIU and our members believe that localism is an important democratic good, the idea that decisions should be made by the people they affect, but it's also a practical good. We face a lot of challenges in this country, whether it's slow growth or challenges around productivity or how we adapt to a climate crisis. And with all of these things, we need innovation, but innovation comes from local energy, from local people. It doesn't happen when one clever person somewhere in central government thinks of an idea and rolls it out. We need that sort of local energy, which is why you need participation. You need local people to be involved in the design and delivery of the services that affect them. And you need to draw on that wisdom of crowds that local people can bring. But the challenge is, the Mayor talked about a trust deficit and trying to overcome that. And that's a widespread and growing problem in society as a whole. So we know that only 27% of people trust the government. Local government has a slightly higher rate. 36% of people trust their council. 57% of people in the UK feel that their interests are not represented by British politics. 85% feel that politicians act in a way that undermines trust in government. And most disturbingly of all, I think, we see a particular decline in faith in democracy amongst young people. So more than a third of young people now don't think that it's essential to live in a democracy. More than half of young people across the country think that it would be good just to have a sort of strong leader who could break the rules and get things done and not have to be accountable. So we have a challenge in society as a whole around trust and trust in institutions. At LGIU, for part of our, to celebrate our 40 years of celebrating local government, we've interviewed over the course of the summer over 60 chief executives and leaders from all parts of the country, from all parties, about participation, about finance, about trust. And we found that across the country, we see local leadership, old leadership driving radical ideas. But we also see that you need to connect with people, as you are doing in Newham. You need to go where people are, connect with them in the spaces that they're actually in. Too many people, the council is still this kind of building on a hill that we expect people to find their way into. It's not just about the little things. We published a piece of work earlier this month looking at how councils maintain public consent around net zero during a cost of living crisis. So it's when we talk about participation and participatory democracy, it's about place shaping, it's about place leadership, but it's also about our response to some of those big global issues. It's not easy. There are challenges around capacity and resources. There are challenges around increasing amounts of misinformation that circulate within communities. There's a challenge around how you represent, how you combine representative democracy, what you're all doing here tonight, and participative democracy. Those are often seen as being in conflict and being in tension. They don't have to be, but you need to think through how they intersect with each other. We've seen huge amounts around the world of inspiring inspiring forms of participatory democracy, not just in Newham. We've also had, you have citizens' assemblies, they've also had them in Oxford, in Leeds, in many other places. And we see that they can have a really, really huge impact, but they need resourcing and they need really clear purpose. We talked about participatory budgets, 3.2 million in Newham. We've seen this done in Lisbon, in the city of Melbourne. They put 50 million into their participatory budget. But again, we need to think about how we extend that out, how we make that central to our activity, not just on the side. We've seen online engagement thing in Plymouth, the Climate Connections online in Madrid. They did an amazing project called Madrid Decides, where they brought all the citizens into an online decision-making platform. We've seen the concept of active citizenship instantiated into the constitution in South Africa. So that's about the vertical connections between government and citizen, and also the horizontal connections between citizens engaged in making their communities better, and that being part of the fundamental purpose of government. So there's a huge amount going on. Some of the key lessons, I think, from that are that it needs to be embedded across the council. You need to take an enabling approach. You need constant clear messaging and communications, and that is never done. When you think you've been clear enough, you need to go back and keep talking and keep communicating to the community. You need to be clear about what democratic engagement is for, both overall and in terms of each individual instance of it. What are you trying to do with this engagement, with this online engagement, or this town hall meeting, or this citizens' assembly? What's it trying to achieve? And you need to engage at the right scale, which means at multiple scales, different ways for different outcomes. So there's a huge amount going on around the world. Please do take a look at our website, www.lgiu.org, where you can find a huge amount of resources looking at some of that best practice around the world. Newham is featured in that as a leading light in this, but there's always things we can learn, looking particularly at other countries where they're some way ahead on this agenda at times. So I'll stop there and happy to take questions on any aspect of that. As I say, do check out our website where, as members, you have access to that and to all that rich set of case studies and materials that I hope you will find useful.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you very much, Jonathan. I'm suggesting there will be only three questions. Are there any questions from members to Jonathan? Councillor Higgins. Can I remind you, just a question, please, no statement. Thank you.
Sure. Councillor Nate Higgins. As well as a councillor, I'm also the Green Party's national spokesperson for democracy, so I'm really excited to have this presentation and the chance to ask this question. One of the things that residents often express to me is this overwhelming weight of all of the things that they're asked to get involved in from the council. The council does so many things, and it's great that we're asking for people's opinions, but they're scared that if they take their eye off it for a second, something will happen and they'll claim that they've been consulted will come out. What do you suggest the threshold to be for whether to go to a participatory approach for involvement or a representative approach, i.e. through councillors who receive an allowance to spend time to talk to residents and to understand their views? How do you balance those two things when people feel like there is too much for them to properly engage with going on?
Right. It's a really good question, and you won't be surprised to hear me say there's no easy answer to it. I think actually the key is just to keep asking that question, just to keep reiterating and to keep thinking about that. It's why we have representative democracy, because we can't, as citizens, devote our lives to working through every minutiae of the council's decision-making or government's decision-making. I think what's important is that the council keeps thinking about that balance. Are we getting the right balance between representative democracy and participatory democracy? Are we putting the right things in each box? And to keep revisiting that and to never feel that that's a settled or done decision, but that one that you're constantly re-engaging with. And the other key element, I think, is that it's about recognizing that people will engage at different times, at different levels, at different points in their life. So you're not saying to people, if you don't engage now, you'll never have a chance again. You're not saying to people, if you don't engage now, your views won't, something will happen that you won't you won't be happy with. You're saying, look, you can come in, you can come out. We understand that. We make that process open enough that people can come, can pick the times in their life and the issues around which they want to engage, and so be really active and engaged on some things, and less so on other things, because we all have different priorities. We all have competing demands on our time. And then you, as councillors, hold the ring on that. As the representatives, you sit above that, looking at the overview and ensuring not that any individual is fully engaged or not at a particular point, but that there is sufficient representation and engagement and participation across the piece.
Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you, Jonathan. Is there any other questions? Councillor Liz Broker.
And my question was also about the relationship between participatory and representative democracy. And it was really helpful, the information that you gave to Councillor Higgins. I wonder, as an organisation, do you give advice or frameworks in which local authorities can make that decision between what we do and what we don't do, and how those two relationships work together? And is there best practice that you point to where that's been done well? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members?
Yes, is the short answer. Do check out our website. We're running an event in November, a free event for all our members on community engagement done well, where we'll be drawing in chief execs from Republic of Ireland, Australia and England to sort of talk about their experience of doing this. I think what that best practice suggests is it's not about sort of, as I said, about making a sort of one-size-fits-all decision about what's representative and what's participatory. It's about constantly revisiting that decision and ensuring that you have a bit of both always engaged, because they're not in opposition. They should be working together all the time. So those participatory inputs are coming into you as representatives, and you as representatives are asking the question about, have we had enough participation in this decision making? And it's a constant dialogue between those two forms of democracy.
Thank you, Jonathan. Is there any other members who wish to ask questions? No? No? Thank you so much, Jonathan. We know that you are extremely busy, and we appreciate you giving up your time to speak to us tonight, and I really appreciate that, and apologize for delaying. Thank you so much, Jonathan.
Material through you, Chair, around where people can find those bits of best practice and those case studies, if that's helpful.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night. Islam.
Thank you, Chair. Can I move a point of order? Can I move rules, clause 16.1.10 on going straight to item 17, civic awards?
Do you
Can
have
I
a seconder?
seconder, please? Formally.
Thank you. I'm now moving to item 17, Civic Award 2023, recommendation of the Civic Awards panel. The report is outlined on pages 25 to 35 of the agenda. I now ask Mayor Fiaz to move this report. Mayor Fiaz.
Colleagues, just in the interest of time, the report sets out in a huge amount of detail the process that the Civic Awards panel have undertaken for this year's Civic Awards scheme. There had been a number of nominations made, and well done, and thank you so much publicly and formally to all those organisations that nominated some of the most heroic people in our borough. And also my thanks to the Civic Awards panel, but in particular I do want to say thank you very much to Councillor Rohit Dasgupta, who chaired all the meetings this year, and he's done a really diligent task in convening all of the members and deliberating at times over quite considerable length on evenings where I'm sure other people would love to have been watching TV. But all of the nominations for each of the categories are amongst the best of us in this borough, and I just wanted to commend everyone to note and approve the recommendations in the report, and if we can formally move to a vote.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Councillor Ridas. We now move to the debate. Does any member wish to speak? No. Can you now move to the recommendation which are outlined on the pages 26, paragraph 2.11 of the published agenda? All those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions? Thank you. I'll go to number 18.
Chair, could I ask that we deal with item 18? It's just a technical legal requirement. If we could deal with 18, please.
Point of order, Chair. Can I invoke Rule 16.1.10 again and move straight to item 18?
Is there a seconder? Thank you. So I'm now moving to item 18, Treasury Management 2022-2023 year-end and quarter 1 2023-2024 update report. The report outlined on pages 37 to 53 of the agenda. I'll now ask Councillor Ali to move this report. Councillor Ali, you have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chair. As we have previously seen in the Council meeting, local authorities are required by the regulation under the Local Government Act 2003 to produce an annual review of treasury management activities and of the prudential and treasury indicators which measure this. This report is for 22-23 financial year, and I'm pleased to say that this meets all the statutory requirements which demonstrate that the Council has fully complied with all the requirements that we are supposed to be meeting. And the report has already been to the 29th of June Audit Committee, as well as Cabinet on 20th of July, and is being presented here tonight. And I must say that the Audit Commission has recognized and given some good reviews in this respect. And it just assure you that there are no breaches of the code that are required. Therefore, I recommend this report to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Ali. Thank you. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Now I move to the debate. Does any members wish to speak? No? That's the point. Sorry? Go to the vote. Vote, yeah. All those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hand. Any abstentions?
Point of order, Chair. Could I invoke clause 16, subsection 1, subsection 10 again? And can we move straight to item 15? Seconded, yeah.
Yeah. Code of conduct, yeah. The report outlined page 19 to 36 of the supplementary agenda 1. As the chair of the council, I'm moving this report. Do I have a seconder, please? Thank you. Now, do you want to debate? Does anyone wish to speak? No, I can assume that. Thank you. So all those in favor, please raise your hands. Thank you. All those against, please raise your hands. No, any abstentions? No? That's fine. Thank you very much. I now declare the meeting.
Chair,
I can't declare anything now, yes.
Just before we finish, please, just so that we don't have to come back to the members' questions and public questions, can we just accept them as received, please?
Agreed? All right, as you can see, we don't have much time. We've got only 1 minute, or less than 1 minute left. So now I declare the meeting has closed. Thank you, everyone, for attending and watching. I hope that you have enjoyed the rest of the evening. Yeah.